morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Welcome to our Economic Revitalization and Recovery Town Hall. I'm Judy Stevenson. I'm hosting today on behalf of Jerome Fletcher. And again, we welcome you to this town hall, which is sponsored and has been started by the Montgomery County Executive, Mark Elrich. So on behalf of the County Executive, I welcome you. So I just wanted to remind everybody that there is Spanish interpretation available. If you would like to listen to this webinar in Spanish, please click the globe at the bottom of your screen and you will have access to the Spanish version of this town hall. So we are going to start with an update from Dr. Gales and with assistance from Sylvia Kinch on the current public health situation. Dr. Gales and Sylvia, if you wanted to, or Dr. Gales, if you wanted to join us and let everybody know where we are today, we would certainly appreciate that.
Sure. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be with you all and hope everyone's doing well. As you know, we, along with many other parts of the country and the world, have been impacted by the Delta variant strain that we have been talking about for a few months now as it's impacted our community. Our case numbers have gone up, as I'm sure has been well documented over the last several weeks. Fortunately, we have not seen a comparable increase or a significant increase in hospitalizations and fatalities, although the hospitalization numbers are continuing to increase. When we look across the state, our case rate is 11.45 per 100,000 residents, which, in just point of comparison, City of Baltimore is 12.95, Prince George's County is 19, Howard County is 10.44. We have 6 counties within the state of Maryland who are in the red zone, which means that they have a case rate of greater than 25 cases per 100,000 residents. When we look at our test positivity, the state test positivity is 5.06%, and in Montgomery County, it's 3.2. I believe we're actually, as of this morning, we still have the lowest test positivity. Actually, we're just above Howard County, which is 3.1. But we are seeing significant increases in the number of our residents getting tested, which is a good sign because more folks are continuing to come in and get tested and know their status, and we're hopefully identifying cases sooner and quicker and getting those folks isolated as necessary. Now, one of the big reasons why we have been able to move forward and not be as significantly impacted by, for example, states like Texas and Florida and other places, Mississippi, is because we've seen such significant uptake of the vaccine throughout our jurisdiction. In fact, according to the CDC, and I'm sure there's probably some exceptions to this, but according to the CDC, 100% of those residents in Montgomery County who are over the age of 65 have received at least one dose of a COVID vaccine. When we look at the percentage of those individuals in the county who are 18 and up, 86% have received both doses and 94% have received at least one dose. And when we look at the population of those who are over the age of 12, 85% have received both doses and 94% have received at least one dose. Now, this is important because, again, we want to get as many people covered to drive down our community transmission levels, to offer protection, in particular to our young people who are not yet eligible for the vaccine and will be returning to school shortly. Hence, we have supported and put forward a number of other recommendations, including the face coverings throughout in indoor settings, as well as some entities have implemented vaccine mandated policies in their schools. The schools, for example, but in their particular places. We will continue to monitor those trends and continue to see the impact, and certainly if there is any further change or worsening of our hospitalizations, or we see an uptick in fatalities, that may necessitate further action. But I want to make sure that people understand things such as a face covering mandate that was put into place for indoor settings was put forward with the hope of curtailing a worsening of things and having us go to places such as these other places right now are experiencing to prevent from having to take any further action in terms of any further restrictions. Now, one couple other things that I want to highlight that have been in the news recently is that there have been some conversations related to recommendations around booster shots and things like that. Now, the current recommendation that is already out is that people with moderate to severe immune compromise status due to a medical condition or happen to be on immunosuppressive medications or treatments and who've already received 2 doses of an mRNA COVID vaccine, which is a Pfizer or Moderna vaccine for us here locally, will soon be eligible to receive a 3rd dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. The stipulation is that the 3rd dose should be administered at least 28 days after the 2nd dose. Now, we are awaiting further guidelines from the State Department of Health for providers and local health departments to be able to move forward with that, including an extension of the different conditions that are covered within that. Now, it's important to note that the recommendation is whichever vaccine you receive for your vaccine that you receive as your booster week, was that the recommendation is that the entire population, 8 months following your 2nd dose, those individuals should receive a booster shot of, again, whichever vaccine they received in their 1st and 2nd dose status. Now, as we continue to get more information, we will be putting out increasing the parameters in terms of what we offer as a county. We have been planning for this for months in terms of contingency planning for boosters, as well as contingency planning for making the vaccine available for those under the age of 12. Now, what I would recommend is there's an extensive list of different conditions that are included in that immunocompromised category. I would encourage you to take a look at the CDC website for that. Some examples of that are active treatment for cancer, individuals who received organ transplants, stem cell transplants, any individual who has moderate or severe primary immunodeficiency type conditions. We think of advanced or untreated HIV infections, and individuals who, for example, might be on high-dose corticosteroid therapies for their particular medical condition. So just want to put that out there, hopefully give some background information and context to a lot of the different things that are being talked about and discussed right now. Again, as we get more information and more guidance from the state, we will be rolling those different protocols out to the public and making sure that our residents have those resources available. I will stop there. Ms. Kinch, I don't know if she had any further details to add, but happy to turn the floor over to her. Thank you.
I do not have anything in addition to add at this time. I know that there are some questions that are out there with regards to our current Board of Health regulation, as well as the mask mandate and high-risk activities. I'm happy to answer those if anyone has them. That's all I have.
Dr. Gales, is there any information on boosters with the Johnson & Johnson?
So at this time, I don't have any further clinical information on that at the time, and that is part of what we are awaiting further guidance on, for those individuals who receive that. At the time, there has the breadth of information for the J&J isn't quite as significant for the other two in terms of recommending an additional dose, but I do know that there are at least a handful of studies underway to look at the level of protection provided by the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, particularly to those who have weakened immune systems. So I anticipate that there will be further guidance provided to those who did receive the Johnson & Johnson dose as their initial vaccine. We just simply don't have that official information at the time.
Okay, thank you.
Please stay tuned.
All right, thanks. So with that, I want to thank Dr. Gales and Ms. Kinch for joining us. Thank you all so much. And I think we will turn now to a discussion with Clark Bile with the HHS Office of Licensure and Regulatory Services. Clark is going to give us an update on an initiative that has been undertaken by that office to automate the forms that many people fill out to apply for licensing from that office. So Clark, I will turn it over to you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Judy, and welcome to everybody, and good afternoon. I'm glad to be here. I'm Clark Bile. I'm with the Montgomery County Department of Health and Human Services Office of Licensure and Regulatory. So if you're one of the businesses or entities in Montgomery County that is required by law to have a license to operate, you're familiar then with our office and what we do. For those that might not be familiar, businesses such as restaurants, swimming pools, all sorts of food service facilities, farmers markets, bingo, raffles, camps, private schools, hotels. All of those entities are required for various health reasons to obtain a license from our office. A number of years ago, 15 years ago, when I first came to this office, I was shocked to see that we were still working with paper and fax machines. And it's been quite a undertaking. We've hit barriers and certain hurdles we had to overcome, but the goal was to eventually get us to being fully electronic, online, and I'm happy to report that we are now well underway in moving our processes into the 21st century by allowing people to complete an application and submit their payment for a license electronically. We have adopted a digital platform called Seamless Docs, which allows us or the customer to complete an application online and submit their payment, much like other types of services that you might purchase over the internet or online. In Montgomery County today, there are approximately 3,500 food service establishments. So it's a rather large group, an entity there. Overall, there's probably about 10,000 different licensed entities here in Montgomery County, with food being the largest, swimming pools probably coming in about second to that. So we are well underway. We started in May of 2020 to this process of digitizing our applications. We started slow. We started with the simple ones, the goal being to work out all the kinks and any little bugs that we might have in the process before we move on to the larger ones. So food service, which is our largest number of applicants for licensees, we're holding to the very end so that we can, like I said, fix any glitches and make it as smooth as possible when we get to that point. We started in May of 2020, and as you know, many of us have been burdened by the challenges of the pandemic. It slowed us down a little bit, but we just kept on pushing through. And I'm happy to report that as of today, we have 8 applications up and operating that you can complete online and submit. Those are farmers markets, swimming pools, video games, pool operator licenses. We're hoping by early fall to have implemented temporary food licenses, bingo, raffle, camps, and private schools. And hopefully by winter, we will have food service establishments and hotels up and running. What we discovered as we started to work through this process was that when applications were submitted in paper, that there was at times 75% of the applications had some missing information or an error that had to be corrected. Hopefully by moving this to an electronic format, we can eliminate a large number of errors and also improve the accuracy and completeness of the application. We found that the paper forms were often taking people as long as 45 minutes to complete, and often they would have to come into the office, actually physically come here to deliver their application and payment. This process will hopefully speed that up and make it possible for the client or customer to work from their place of business or from their home even and complete their application and submit it electronically. Definitely less paper, less processing, and making it easier for the customer. One good thing that we've done, one interesting thing that we've done as we move through is we've had focus groups. We've actually invited our customers and clients that complete applications to work with us and help us in developing these electronic formats so that we can learn from them about what works for them, what doesn't work, what makes it easier or what makes it more difficult. And that's been a really helpful process to make it easier for the customer and to make it easier for those stakeholders to find out what really works for them and not just what works for county government. Still a work in process, as I mentioned, but hopefully by winter we will have it completed. And the interesting thing is we are now working with the County Technology and Enterprise Business Solutions. That's the technology office here in Montgomery County government, to work on expanding this throughout the entire county government to make it an enterprise process so that any license or permit that is required by Montgomery County government can all be done through this electronic format. That's an exciting new development and something that we'll be seeing rolled out hopefully within the next year or so. That's all I have, and I'm open to any questions.
So Clark, I think some people might be concerned about making sure that their payment information is secure. I assume we can assure them that that was actually part of what took a while, right? To make sure that that was secure.
Definitely, and that's why we've moved very slow, very carefully, working with our finance office, making sure that we meet all the security requirements necessary when you're submitting payment information. Much more secure, actually, than the way that we've been doing it in the past, where you were required to give your credit card number over the phone to somebody, which isn't the most secure way of doing it. So now we're hoping it'll be actually much more secure.
And then the food service facility licenses, those all expire on January 31st, right? So
Correct.
I'm assuming your objective is to have this process in place for that renewal period?
That's our goal, hopefully. Normally we send out reminders to everybody in October or November, and we're hoping that the system will be up and running by then so that they can do it electronically.
And a question also, can they continue to do this as a paper process, or do they have to do the online?
No, we'll always have to have a paper backup system. As we all know, technical glitches sometimes happen. The internet goes down. But we will always have the paper process if somebody prefers to come into the office and do it that way. And
we should mention that your office is moved, right? So if people are used to going to Rockville.
Thank you for reminding us of that. Our new offices are no longer in Rockville. We are now in Wheaton at 2425 Reedy Drive on the 9th floor. I encourage you to please come by the office. That lovely new building down in downtown Wheaton, which has really revitalized this whole neighborhood. So. And
is there parking in the building?
Yes, parking in the garage.
Okay, yeah, it really changed the face of Wheaton. It's really, if you haven't been to Wheaton recently, people should go down and take a look.
Check it out. Yeah, It's really nice.
Pretty impressive. Okay, well, thank you, Clark. it is an exciting project. I know it's something that you all have been working on for a long time, and it's something that I think your customers are going to really appreciate, and it's going to make things much better for them and much better for the county employees as well.
And as people start using the system, we encourage feedback. So please let us know if you have any problems, issues, or ways that you think we could improve. We'd be happy to hear that.
Sounds good. Okay, well, I don't see any questions from the audience. And so I think that given that, we've had the update from Dr. Gales and exciting news from HHS LNR office. People can certainly submit questions to the business portal, which was, I think, in your invitation at any time. And with that, I will wish everyone a good day and a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clark.
About that?
Yes, there is. Trees can be planted best when they're dormant with the leaves off.